Okay, so maybe it's not as exciting as I made that presentation out to be. Or at the very least, it's not always as exciting as that presentation is. But maybe that's for a good thing. Okay, so here's a bit of a story. How about 2 days ago at the time of recording, the closed beta for this game, Once Human, releases. If you're in the closed beta, you can download it and play it. Not even 24 hours later, the much anticipated and also much delayed game, The Day Before, releases in early access on Steam. Now, normally you don't want to compare these sorts of things, but they're both survivor sandbox games. They're both third person with a switch to first person for more accurate shooting. They both have an emphasis on looting and an open world that you're meant to explore, fight with environmental enemies as well as other players, so a PvE and PvP aspect to it. The comparison couldn't fit better, and the timing of it, I couldn't make it up if I wanted to. So, not even a full day after The Day Before comes out, it is already overwhelmingly negative on Steam.
How bad did things get when this Rosetta Corporation...
It got real bad.
The Day Before, despite being in early access, is a product that you purchase. It's $40, 40 US dollars. And in less than a day, it has thousands of negative comments. 15%, which is up from the last time I checked, it was at 13. But it is sitting overwhelmingly negative. All of the hype, all of the promises, all of the expectations, nothing. The day that I put out the video reacting to the trailer for Once Human was the first time I had ever even heard of it. I saw the trailer, I reacted to the trailer, now I'm already playing the beta, and I have not spent a dime. It would be much easier for me to recommend, or it would have been much easier for me to recommend The Day Before, because it's early access, so you buy it, you have it. Unlike Once Human, which is a closed beta test, it's really more of an MMO to its own detriment, so that means that once this beta test is over, not only is all of your progress going to get reset, but you're not going to have access to the game anymore. It would have been easier for me to say that The Day Before is the right pick, because it's something that is out, and you can enjoy it, and you'll be able to enjoy it. But unfortunately, that's not really the case, because while I do have some reservations about Once Human, it is a game that I didn't spend any money on, that works and runs even with my complicated technological setup. It is a game that works with my computer setbacks. Whereas The Day Before, while a game I have not played, I tried to watch several different streamers play it, and it crashed. Not just the game itself, but it crashed the entire computers of several of the streamers who attempted to play it live. So, a lot of its hate is technical related, but a lot of its hate is also based off of its own game mechanics. Now, I don't want to get too deep into that because this is ultimately a video about Once Human. But it is something that you should keep in mind, that this Chinese free-to-play sandbox survival game in closed beta is, despite my bias, a much easier recommendation than a game that is purchasable and available to people on PC. Honestly, after watching that trailer,
Look, you
my
have to work together.
expectations
Yeah,
kind of
wait.
Deviants and come on.
didn't exist. Which is surprising because I
Tell me
still
about the
somehow
stick on my
managed to be
back.
confused and
It's called
surprised
the Cradle. It
when
protects you from
playing
stuff
through the
from
closed
human
beta
channels
for
and
Once
powers.
Human.
It'll be a vital tool if we want to
I don't
survive.
know.
It also
In
contains
addition
my
to
consciousness,
nothing really
so
making any
try not to
sense,
damage it, okay?
Sure.
there was also
I'll
the
do my
issue
best.
of
What the hell?
That
loads
was
of
a
terminology
deviant, a
being
mutated
used
human who was infected by
by
Stardust.
NPCs
ask you
and
about
characters
that.
of whatever
Well,
story they're
when the
trying to
sewer gets
tell.
open, Stardust just started
The problem was also the fact that our character, the player character, responds and uses those terms as though they already know what they mean.
The majority of human beings never survived exposure.
But that's really, really
Certainly
inconsistent
not
because
high
in
concentrations.
conversations that happen
Most
later
people ended up turning into creatures
with
like
other
that.
NPCs that you discover in the open world, they'll ask questions as though they don't know, completely contradicting their understanding that they displayed earlier. Now,
I
all of that
can
gets
remember this
compounded by the
video
fact
game.
that there are all sorts
I
of
used to
bugs.
play it.
First of which being the fact that some of the items, their names, descriptions, and even character names aren't translated. So the text will
I
pop up
ran
on
into a
screen
lot
in
of
Chinese.
beasts and
That's not it.
Then you have the issue of audio bugs where audio, like voice lines, won't play or will repeat themselves or will just cut out halfway through as though the character or the voice actor is
family
paraphrasing.
you mean
This made trying to understand what was happening incredibly difficult. And in the trailer, I already got the feeling that this project was being weird for the sake of just being weird. So, it just was a perfect storm of nonsense. So, we're playing Once Human, and I've already I have a little bit of a better idea as to what's going on, and this is just gonna show off some of the gameplay as I experience it for the first time. So right now I've been tasked with investigating a manor using some clues. To be honest, for a closed beta test, that is almost double the player count that they were expecting. I have to say that this is one of the lesser painful experiences as far as like server issues. There are some technical bugs that they of course need to work on. Primarily the fact that there's a lot of text that pops up on screen that isn't translated. But as far as like being able to play the game, it runs. There was a very, very short period of time where everyone was trying to connect to the servers at one point in time, but right now that seems to have ironed out. It helps that I'm recording this in the middle of the week. So, yeah. I've actually already been in this area. So, I need to get my hands on like a dedicated weapon. Let's see. Oh, I could have backstabbed, but I messed up. Okay. So what exactly am I supposed to be looking for here? Oh. View posts. I don't know what that means. Stardust pollution. I don't have ammo for my gun, so I have to be kind of careful. I also need to make sure that drink some water. So at the bottom in the middle of the screen, I have my thirst, my hunger, sanity, I guess, and strength, like stamina. Uh-oh. Okay. So long as I take them down one at a time, I'll be okay. Oh, saved by the animation. Force field, deviations. What do I do with you? Uh-oh. Press Q to investigate the acro image. Gear crate, gear crate. Okay, then I need to get out of here. I thought that I could keep them from spawning somehow. Whoa. Where did you... Oh, water bottle, nice. Uh-oh. It's alright. I've been getting a lot of acid. I wonder what we use that for. Did I say Kiefer Sutherland? Okay, I'm hitting the investigation button, but nothing's up on the location now. Maybe it's because there's an enemy? Let's have lunch. Hopefully I understood the instructions properly. Someone's been here before us. Civilization. Okay, so one of our targets is inside of the building, second floor. The other one is higher still. It's level 7s. I ain't scared. Hitbox on shooting is pretty generous. Oh. Okay, that one had a gun and just shot at me. Wow, he really did have a gun. Oh. I didn't think the enemies would be shooting. I thought it would just be other players. Oh. Wait. No need to waste ammo. It's coming through. stay back. Alright, we're clear. Said that pollution is increasing. Select from the list on the right. I don't... Equip Greed Rift Anchor? Oh. Okay. Now we have to go higher. How do we get over there? There's gotta be loot in this facility. Oh. What? That was an interesting trick. Alright, nothing. Nothing but a waste of ammunition. Let's move it along. I didn't see a way up there. Check the map. Okay, it's this way. Something is this way, but what I'm looking for. I have to find some other way to get up there. It's getting a little laggy. Okay, that looks menacing. Yeah, sure. You go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and clear the way for me. I appreciate it. Fall Reaper. You have gathering store. Uh-oh. That's it. I need to do what I came here to do and get out. How do I get... Oh. Submit. It's a bad place to talk.
Ability to handle people. You dealt with that well.
And where did you go while I was handling the situation?
I am not naturally skilled at human interaction. You may have noticed that, although I'm trying my best with you. And if I'm to be honest, I simply feel a certain
Time to go, time to go. Maybe, F? I'm gonna do 5, 6. Gotta get out of here. 1 hit and I'm toast. I might not make it out of here. Enter rift space. Yeah, no, I gotta go back to my... Yep. Did not come prepared for today's element. I teleport out of here. All of that aside, though, the gameplay itself is actually fairly standard survival sandbox. If you played stuff like DayZ, Rust, you'll be somewhat familiar with the things that you have to do in order to get by when it comes to this game. That being said, from the sandbox games that I've personally played, I do feel as though that this one is way more in tune with its mechanics, and there's a fair bit of synergy between all of the different things that you're expected to deal with. Food and water play directly into things that you care about, like your speed, your ability to run. You get debuffs to things that will make your hunger and your hydration deteriorate faster. Different abilities or resistances are affected by it as well. And I don't know, it all just seemed like it was playing together very, very nice. Outside of fighting different creatures, you're going to spend a lot of your time running around gathering materials to build your base. Now, I for one don't typically like base building. I don't have a knack for it, really. But in Once Human, your base serves a very essential function, as it is the place where you will be crafting a lot of your items, your consumables, cooking your food, making clothes, weapons, tools, etc. So if you're the type of person who's really into that sort of thing, then welcome home. Build it yourself, but welcome home. If you're the type of person who isn't into that sort of thing, don't worry too much, because all you have to do is the bare minimum to get your facilities up and running, maintain it, and then just use them when you need to, and go out on your adventures. It's not a big deal. They're not going to nail you down to it. At least not too much. Certainly not as much as other sandbox games might try to. But there is unfortunately a bit of a problem. Because this is an MMO, or rather a game that doesn't know if it wants to be an MMO or a real sandbox game, and because of the way that the servers are run, there's a problem with space. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, you cannot build your base in close proximity to anyone else's base. And because there are no private servers or solo mode, you run the very real risk of large areas of land being completely inaccessible because they're either near an NPC installation that you also can't build near, or other players. So you land in the starter zone and you have to walk a pretty unreasonable distance before you're able to place anything. And this is a problem that's only going to get worse with time, because as a developer, you should always be working under the assumption that your game is going to be successful. If you're doing that, then you're going to have a lot of players in a very limited space. Lots of players, limited space. That means that not everyone's going to be able to build what they need to build. And yes, they do have a system that means that you have to manage and upkeep your base. If you don't supply it with materials to keep it up and running, it will decay and ultimately be destroyed, freeing up that space for somebody else to use. But I don't know if you can really rely on that. One of the developers of Once Human said that they were really kind of anticipating around 20 or so thousand people, but then went on to say that over 40,000 had joined their Discord server. If this game is a smash hit, and if this game so happens to take players from the day before, then you're going to be dealing with several thousand more players than you anticipated. Is your system of degradation going to facilitate that? Are you really confident in your plan? Because where you land on the map at the start of the game is definitely scaled. If you try and go too far, you'll end up surrounded by enemies and situations that you're just not equipped to handle. That could add a lot of player frustration and turn off a lot of new players. But even if that's the plan, there are probably going to be more than enough people who stick to the game enough to just physically block out space from other people to use. When you end up with overcrowded and overpopulated servers, do you have a plan for how you're going to manage that? Because from what I'm seeing, it's not looking too good. Anyway, I think that's the bulk of what I want to say about Once Human, and you've seen a fair bit of the gameplay that I have currently recorded. What do you think about it down in the comments below? If you've played it yourself, let me know. If you think it's something that you want to play, also, let's talk about it. What's your experience with these sorts of third-person shooter sandbox type games, and who's doing it the best and who's doing it the worst? Well, you don't have to say who's doing it the worst. The answer to that is very clearly the day before. But that's gonna do it for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in another video.